What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for some more Euros content for you today. And what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be reviewing all Tottenham players at the Euros. I know it sounds like we've got a host of players at the Euros, but we've only got about 8 players. But I think there have been some fairly good performances out there from some of the Spurs boys. And who I've got taking it through with me is David Harris from the Irish Hotspur. Let's get him on. David, how's it going, my brother?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks very much for having me, Ben. I really do appreciate it. And look, congratulations for getting through to the last 16.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. I'm not going to give you any island digs today, but let's look at the Spurs players. I mean, on a whole, have you been impressed with the boys so far that have been there?
Yeah, look, especially the Welsh lads, I suppose, they can hold their heads up high. Look, even Harry Kane, we'll get into that. I have a thing on Harry Kane I do want to talk about. But even I think he can hold his head up high. I don't think a lot of what's going on is his fault at the minute. Look, Moussa Sissoko played his first game yesterday coming off the bench. Not much to talk about there. But yeah, relatively speaking, they can hold their heads held high. Look, they've performed better at the Euros than what they have for us last season. And hopefully, some of them can bring that form then into the new season.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, they need a manager to guide them through first, but that's a conversation for another day. Let's get into the first player we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Belgium's Toby Aldevirald. He's been ever present so far for Belgium. They've kept 2 clean sheets, and obviously they've conceded 1 against Denmark, and that was kind of a very early goal. Poulsen getting an early goal there where Denmark were just on fire in that first half, and you can kind of excuse them for not keeping a clean sheet there. But I think that Belgium on a whole and Toby Alderweireld on a whole, for me, have done their job. They've really done their job, and they've definitely been one of the teams of the tournament for me so far. But as a whole, how do you assess Toby's tournament so far?
Look, I think he's been brilliant. Look, with Belgium, they're always going to have a lot more of the ball than the opposition. So then it comes about, staying switched on and how you use the ball. And Toby Alderweireld actually has a 90% passing accuracy throughout this tournament so far over the 2 games he has played, which has been phenomenal. But we know that with Toby, he's very good on the ball. But look, with Belgium, if there is a team I do hope that win it, I hope it is Belgium. We have Jan Vertonghen there, ex-Spurs player. Toby Alderweireld. I would like to see them.
Don't forget Nasser Chadli, Dave.
Nasser Chadli, actually, another player I really liked. I was surprised we sold him at the time. I really liked him. But no, look, Toby's been brilliant so far. He's been commanding as well. And look, it's what I expect from the guy, to be honest with you. He's a good, honest professional. And yeah, he correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's only given away like 2 or 3 fouls as well, which is relatively small for a defender nowadays. So, it's looking good. It's looking good for him. Everything tells me, looking at his stats and that, everything tells me that he's in the right positions. He's staying switched on. And when he is using the ball, he's using it correctly. What more do you want from the guy?
Yeah, most definitely. And in their next round, last 16, they come up against Portugal in an absolutely mouth-watering tie. I mean, who are you backing to go through in that one?
Do you know what? I'm going to say Portugal. I'm going to back Portugal. With Belgium, look, I hope they win it, but I don't know, I don't know. I think with Portugal, I think they'll be able to expose them down the sides of Belgium. I do think that maybe they will target the likes of Jan Vertonghen, who plays right of the tree, or Jan Vertonghen, who plays left of the tree, and Toby Alderweireld, who plays right of the tree. I do think maybe, one team will catch on to it and start exposing them. Get Ronaldo up there, get Jota down one side, whoever they want to play over the other side, and get balls out wide, quick balls over the top out wide, and get at the back line. I think Portugal will be the team to do that. And plus Cristiano Ronaldo, he equaled the record for most international goals yesterday. Yeah. So he'll be absolutely, chomping at the bit to beat the record and get that record. And we all know Cristiano Ronaldo, when he has a record in sight, he usually breaks it. So look, I do think it'll be a close affair, probably a bit of a cagey affair. But look, they held on against France last night. They done well. I know it was 2 penalties ultimately that they scored from, but at the end of the day, they got the job done. And they came in well. I was surprised with Bruno Fernandes. If he can come back in and maybe, get on the ball in that midfield and start feeding Ronaldo and Jota and stuff like that, I do think they will cause Belgium a few problems.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I don't know if you heard Jose Mourinho on Talk Sport the other night. He was saying that Bruno Fernandes is not doing anywhere near enough at this tournament so far, and it's like basically playing with 10 men when he's been playing, which was really strong words from Bruno. But how I assess Portugal is that I expected a lot from Portugal coming into this tournament with the squad they have, and I've not been impressed with them at all. I mean, in the first game against Hungary, they had to wait very late and to get those 3 goals. Yeah, they did get those 3 goals, so fair play to them at the end, but I wasn't impressed with them in that game. Against, who was the other team that they had in their group? France. Germany, yeah. So they got absolutely smacked by Germany. Yeah. And in that France game, yeah, they played well. But again, like you said, 2 penalties. So I really haven't been impressed with them. And I'm actually backing Belgium to beat them. I really am. And I think Romelu Lukaku is going to fire them to that quarters.
Just on that, Ben, just think back to the last Euros when they won it.
They drew
all the group games. Yeah. And from the group stage onwards, they got better and better as the competition goes on. And they could, again, it could be like some of the other bigger teams, even France, England, teams like that. I think genuinely they're holding themselves back. They don't want to give too much away. They know they're going to get out of the group. And from the last 16 onwards, that's when you'll probably see the best football and the best of the teams, because there's no saving grace. You know, in the group stage, you can lose one, but you can go and get a win and a draw from the other 2 games and you're out of the group. In knockouts, it's win or die. So at the end of the day, I just think Portugal have enough to beat Belgium. With Portugal, I've seen enough of them without the ball. You know, look, defensively, you could say, okay, maybe there's a few questions, but I've seen enough of them coping without the ball. I haven't seen that from Belgium yet. And if Portugal can get on top and control the game, then Belgium will have to answer questions that we haven't seen asked of them yet.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to Pierre-Emerick. Now, Pierre has been insane for me in this tournament. Absolutely insane. Pure Vikings performances. I mean, I think he's got the most assists in the tournament, the most chances created in the tournament. And it really feels like, to me, this Denmark team is really pulling through together, really playing as a team, playing like 11 absolute warriors on that field. And it feels as though they're doing it for Christian Eriksen. And I feel that is why they're playing so well. I mean, they've only won 1 game, but that Belgium game, in that first half, they were absolutely astonishing. The game after that against Russia, they absolutely tore them to shreds. And the Finland game, when Christian Eriksen did go down, and obviously what happened, they did lose that game, which was kind of excusable, to be honest. So I think in the other 2 games, they've been insane. And Højbjerg has been absolutely central to that, hasn't he?
No, Højbjerg's been absolutely brilliant. But Ben, he's been played a bit further forward this tournament. Yeah. You know, he's allowed to get further forward as well. With Tottenham, you know, we used him as a holding midfielder, which we needed over the course of the season. But this tournament, he is playing further forward, and it kind of answers questions. You know, is Pierre a good midfielder? Is he good on the ball? You know, can he be creative? Well, that what he's produced at this Euro so far has answered a lot of them questions. For me, look, a lot of us have said it throughout the course of the season. I think he should be Spurs captain. You know, for me, he has the right mentality. He's the sort of guy. He's not afraid to pull players out and dig them out. You know, make them accountable for their mistakes. But he also, when he makes a mistake, he holds himself accountable. But one thing you can guarantee with this guy, he puts everything on the line every game like it's his last game. And we've seen that with Denmark. And for him to pull the squad the way he has together, you know, especially against Russia, you know, he was running around with an armband on his head. We've seen that, a bandage around his head. We've seen that with Tottenham as well. You know, the guy, he just has no quit in him. He's a warrior. He puts his body on the line. And another thing is he'll fly into tackles and he leads by example. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. You know, like you said, most chances created this Euros. And we didn't expect it from Pierre. And look, to be honest with you, just on Denmark quickly, look, we've played Denmark a number of times over the last few years in qualifications and games like that. With Denmark, one thing, they're very, very good at sitting in if they have to. But make no mistake about it, they can score goals. Yeah, they can score goals. Like, they ripped us apart at the Aviva. We finished 0-0 over there in Copenhagen. We thought we'd be able to do them at the Aviva. We went 1-up, and then they ripped us apart, went on a rampage, and destroyed us 5-1. This Denmark team, they can score goals. Make no mistake about it. And I'm just so happy for the way they've come together for Christian. You can see they're doing it for Christian. But another thing on Pierre, to get everybody in a huddle at the end, get Christian involved via the phone. It's an absolute insane thing to do. You know, at that moment when they could be running around the pitch out of brain, you know, he's a true leader of men, and he's a true warrior. And that's why we love him. And for me, he has to be future captain. I think he's been brilliant and a standout player. And it wouldn't surprise me, you know, I think he will carry on into the new season and a big club will come calling again, because we have to remember this guy came through the Bayern Munich academy. He won the Champions League with the Bayern Munich team. You know, you cannot, and this is another thing, you can't be a bad footballer technically if you're coming through the Bayern Munich academy. You can't be. You just won't allow it. And the thing is, again, he's answered so many questions this year, and I'm so happy for the guy.
Yeah, and 100%. I echo all your thoughts there. One player I just wanted to touch on quickly is Mikhail Damsgaard, who's been linked with Spurs. Obviously, scored an absolute flying goal against Russia. Do you think that he's one that we should be looking at, or do you think that we've been stung by signing a player from one of these tournaments before, like Paulinho and players like that, or do you think that we should just calm down on these Euro scouting and kind of let them have another season at Sampdoria or something to see what they're really about?
Look, that's a hard one to gauge. Look, his goal against Russia was quality. But look, I've seen players score goals like that in tournaments before and can never replicate it in club form. They're not really that good. Whatever it is about international tournaments, to get the moment, it lifts them and they can do something that they can never usually do. With Damsgaard, look, for me at a club like Tottenham, we signed someone like that, a bit of an unknown quantity in Bergwijn. That hasn't worked out yet. That hasn't come to fruition. For me, right now, where we're at Tottenham, we have to be getting in the very best players we can for the money that can afford. And then once we have our squad intact on the field, then we can start bringing in players like Damsgaard, because this guy is not going to come in and hit the Premier League. He's not going to hit the ground running. He's going to need time to settle in. And for me, I think we should avoid it for the time being and maybe revisit it next summer if he has a good season at Sampdoria.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. But let's move on. Let's talk about Harry Kane now. Obviously, hasn't scored a goal yet at the Euros, played 3 games. He's got taken off in his first 2 games, played 90 minutes against Czech Republic. He's been coming under a lot of criticism by England fans, probably not Spurs England fans, but just England fans in general. But how do you assess his Euros so far?
Yeah, Ben, this is where I come into my element, because I can look at it from a logical perspective. So you look at Harry Kane with Tottenham last season with the goals and assists. What happened? We got quick ball to him. We didn't allow him to get crowded out like he is with England. With England, right, you have Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. Now, the reason why all they can do is pass sideways and backwards and retain possession is because they receive their ball with the back to play. They're never on the half turn. Ben, when we went football training when we were younger, you were always taught to receive the ball on the half turn. Yeah. When you receive the ball on the half turn, that opens up the pitch. You can see everything going forward. You know what I mean? And it gives you more options. When you don't do that and you're receiving your ball, the ball with your back to play constantly, all you can do is play the way you're facing. You know, and the thing is with England, they're not getting quick ball to Harry Kane. By the time they get the ball up the top, you know, Kane's crowded out by 2-3 centre-backs. What's he supposed to do? He's getting the ball, he's getting it punted into his feet. There's 3 guys around him and he's trying to play a 1-2 with somebody. It's impossible. And he's usually receiving the ball with his back to play as well. At Tottenham, that doesn't happen. But another thing is the likes of Sterling and the wingers get balls into the box for Kane, across the 6-yard box. They're constantly trying to cut in and have a shot. You know, they're not playing to Kane's strength. And then when Kane is dropping deep to receive the ball, the reason why he's doing it is because he's receiving it in space. He can get his head up. And he's the one that's capable in that team of picking a 40-yard pass, getting the ball on the left-hand side, putting it in behind the fullback over the right-hand side. He's capable of doing that. And sometimes he's that frustrated. He's dropping the ball. He's dropping deep, picking up the ball and getting it forward and then trying to get there himself. You know what I mean? And that's going to tire him out because he gets frustrated. You know, the chances are not being created for him. With Harry Kane, you need to get quick ball to him and get it to him in space. It's like Ronaldo and Mbappe. That's why you see, like, even at PSG or France now, they play counter-attacking football. They sort the pressure and try and break quick because it's giving their best players the ball in space. So England need to, for me, get someone in midfield or else get Mount in if they can. Drop him deep, get Grealish in, drop him deep. Get on the half-turn, receive the ball, and get quick ball to Harry Kane. As well, they're not playing enough balls through the lines, between the 2 centre-backs when Kane's on the run. He's always receiving the ball to his feet with his back to goal. It's never when he's running in behind or anything like that. And that's the major problem. And this is where I have my problem with Southgate, Ben, is because you have the best striker in world football. Utilise it. You play to his strengths. At the end of the day, he is the one that's going to win you the competition. You know, you're never going to win it without scoring goals. He's going to be the main man to win you the competition. So whatever you have to do, you adapt your tactics to this guy. You get him the ball, and get him the opportunities to take them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And Jose Mourinho was hitting back at the critics for Harry Kane as well. He was saying, how many crosses has he received? How many through balls is he receiving between the lines? How many big chances has he missed? Yeah, this was before the Czech Republic game. Yeah, he missed that chance, but it was a good save from the keeper against Czech Republic. But, I mean, I refuse to blame Harry Kane for the way, for the time he hasn't scored goals in this tournament yet. I refuse to blame him. And do you think that because he knows Son's game so well, and Son, every time Harry Kane gets on that ball, Son is on his bike, making those runs in behind. Do you think that Sterling or whoever's out there with Harry Kane need to kind of learn how to learn their games even better than they're doing now, because they don't have that telepathy that kind of him and Son have?
Yeah, look, in a way, they're never going to do it because international breaks, they're always short, aren't they? But, like, the other thing is, how long have Kane and Sterling been playing together? A number of competitions now.
Yeah.
They should have that. But with Sterling, you know, look, he's come into criticism in the past. He hasn't really shown up to tournaments. You know, and look, okay, he's got 2 goals this tournament. It should be 3. He should have buried that one where it hit the post. But with Harry Kane, he's had one chance, really, Ben. One chance over the course of 3 games.
Yeah.
That is nowhere near good enough. And a lot of it is like there was one stage Sterling, he had the ball. All he had to do was knock it to Reece James, let Reece James knock in the box, give Harry Kane something to go and attack. And he tries to beat 3 or 4 players. You know, and it goes out for a goal kick. Other times he's cutting in. Rather than getting quick ball across, he's slowing it down, cutting in, trying to have a shot. And this is the problem. Like, with Raheem Sterling, a lot of his goals with City over the last couple of years have come by making smart runs and being on the end of things. Now, use that in an England shirt with Harry Kane, because that's the way his son plays.
Yeah.
A lot of Son's goals this year came off him making smart runs off Harry Kane, making smart runs and being able to feed Harry Kane. Now, use that, replicate that. But again, that comes down to Southgate. He needs to be identifying that and training that and be speaking with these guys. At the minute like that, especially Kane and Sterling, they look like individuals. They need to come together. And for me, I don't think we can blame Harry Kane. One chance over 3 games, it is absolutely outrageous.
It really is. It really is. But let's see if they can muster up anything against Germany, against that 3 at the back at Germany. Do you back England to beat Germany in the last 16? Taking your Irish cap off?
Yeah, no, look, with the Irish cap off, look, it's the best chance in a number of years to beat Germany. Their very best chance. Look, this Germany team, you don't know what Germany team is going to show up. We've seen that over the course of the group stage. They're hit and miss. They can score goals when they do show up. But they're also awful defensively at times. Look, against France, Germany, to be honest with you, if that own goal didn't go in, and it ended as a draw, you would have said Germany were the better team.
Yeah.
Against Portugal, I wasn't expecting them to turn up. But then they got lucky against Hungary to get out. So it's a tough one. With England, I just have a sneaky suspicion that Gareth Southgate has purposely played the likes of Philip and Rice to think that people are going to be, to get bigger teams in the competition, to think that England are going to be pragmatic, that they can press them, this, that and the other. So that when they do come up against the big teams, they can drop a Grealish or a Mount or someone back there, get on the half turn, get quick ball forward and surprise these teams. That England won't be slow as lethargic. I think you're seeing that with a lot of big teams across the competition. I think you're seeing it with France. I think maybe you're seeing it with Portugal too. Because the thing is, why would they expose really what they're like in the group stage? Because they know they're going to get out anyway, so they can afford to do this. So it'll be interesting. Maybe I'm wrong, but it'll be very interesting. Sometimes I do think some of these bigger teams do hold back, and I just think Gareth Southgate could be doing it. I think you might see something different against Germany. And as much as it kills me to say, I actually think you'll beat Germany. Wow. You're home as well, so.
Wow. Well, if you're saying that, so is it coming home then, David? Is it coming home?
No, it's not coming home. You get caught out in the quarters or the semis. But no, look, I do think you'll beat Germany. I think you have more than enough to beat Germany. But again, if you don't, it's Gareth Southgate's team selection. That's it. It's down to his team selection. He needs to find his cojones and start making these big calls.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, Sterling, okay, you know, he's been there throughout the years, but for me, put Sancho in there.
Yeah.
You know, he has that
What
something
does he
different
have
at
to do to
tournament
get a
level.
game, Sancho?
I do not understand it. I do not understand it. This guy, he's so talented. At tournament level, you need someone like him. Young, fearless, not afraid to take on players, make things happen. Get Grealish in there. Grealish should have been in there a lot more. He's so positive. The reason why he's fouled so much is because he's constantly trying to drive forward with the ball, constantly playing forward. You know what I mean? You need players like that are going to be brave at this competition. Like, you know, when you're going into these games, play all the attacking boys, go and get the goals. And then 60 minutes, you can bring on the likes of Henderson, Phillips, and let them, you know, rotate the play, keep possession, kill the game out. But look, that's only the way I would do it. I'm not Gareth Southgate. But if you don't beat Germany, it's down to him bottling team selection.
Completely agree. Let's move on to France. Let's talk about Hugo Laurice, Tottenham captain. 3 games, 1 clean sheet. Obviously, that was against Germany 1-0. And then they drew against Hungary 1-1. And last night they drew 2-2 against Portugal. I don't think he's been that tested so far during this Euros. I think the French defence have really been strong with Varane and Kimpembe. I mean, what a difference to having Sanchez and Dyer to Varane and Kimpembe in front of you. I mean, like, bloody hell, he must be thinking this is a luxury. But yesterday in the Portugal game, that penalty he gave away, what did you make out of that?
Look, do you know what? I've been hugely critical of Hugo Laurice for not coming out and commanding his area and stuff. And look, for me, he came out. It's one of them. The defender got the ball before him. I don't think you can blame him. At the end of the day, if he didn't come out and the defender got the free header, you would have been criticising Hugo Laurice for not coming out and trying to go for the ball and clear it. So for me, look, it's one of them. You don't see it. You don't see it too often. For me, you can't really put the blame on him. The goal they conceded against Hungary wasn't his fault today. I think it was Varane completely caught out, and it gave your man a free run in on goals, and he put it away. But apart from that, Hugo Laurice, he's had a good competition. Like you said, he hasn't had much to do. This is now the group stages are over. Coming into the knockout stages, where you're going to see where Hugo Laurice really is at in this tournament for me. You know, because you're going to see him be tested a bit more. You know, maybe a couple of one-on-ones, this, that, and the other, as they come up against better teams. You can arguably say, look, they've already played Portugal, Germany. What better teams are there? But look, for me, I do think now in the knockout stages where you can really judge Laurice off. Like I said, that penalty yesterday, can't really do much about. I would have been fuming if he didn't come out for it, same as the France manager. And the goal against Hungary, Varane was exposed. What can he do?
It was a nice little right hook, though, from Hugo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Look, I've been on the receiving end a few of them myself, you know, going in for a header and the keeper coming out fist first. They're not nice, you know what I mean? They're not nice, but at the end of the day, you have to commend the keeper for being brave.
Yeah, for sure. Moussa Sissoko, masterclass of a tournament so far from him. Against Germany, didn't even get on the bench. Against Hungary, didn't come off the bench. And against Portugal, he got all of 5 minutes. And I don't even think he touched the ball yesterday, but masterclass from Moussa, innit?
Look, to be honest with you, I don't know where to bottom. I don't know where to bottom. Surely there's better midfielders out there that he could use at his disposal. Maybe he's thinking, you know, if Kante does get injured, maybe he can come in and just break play up, stuff like that. But yeah, look, I wasn't expecting him to get much game time, to be honest with you. So look, I probably expected him to get maybe a bit more. Maybe I thought France were going to get the job done early and that they could rotate the squad last game. It didn't happen. But bring it on for 5 minutes, look, you know, I think that's maybe what you're going to see more or less of him throughout this competition.
Yeah, definitely. All right, now let's move over to the last but not least, the Welsh boys, and let's start off with Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale obviously played 3 games so far, 290 minutes, 185 minutes against Italy. Against Switzerland, they drew 1-1. I thought Gareth Bale didn't have the greatest game that game. Against Turkey, I thought he was absolutely sublime. I mean, that performance he put in against Turkey, it wasn't like the kind of standard Gareth Bale performance we're used to seeing, like tugging that right-hand side, getting up and down the pitch. He seemed to like control that game from the middle of the park, playing lovely through balls time and time again. Ramsey, I mean, he put it on a plate for Ramsey 3 or 4 times that game, which was insane. Obviously missed that penalty. I mean, it's still in orbit now, that penalty. It's going up and up and up. But those 2 corners at the end from Gareth Bell was a touch of class. I mean, and against Italy, I don't remember seeing him that much, but it was more of a dogged defensive display against Italy. But that game against Turkey really impressed me.
No, look, I think Gareth Bale has probably been one of the standout players this Euros. To be honest with you, that game against Turkey, he was unbelievable. Look, the penalty miss. Look, let's address this. For me, he hasn't. I think it's like what, a year or two since he's actually scored for Wales. That was playing on his mind.
Yeah.
He wanted the goal. Look, it was a bad penalty. It is what it is. But for him to dust himself down the way he did and still put in the performance and get that assist, from the corner and that at the end, unbelievable. For me, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And he just goes to show that he truly is one of the world-class players at this tournament. Like you said, he's doing it all for Wales. He's dropping deep. He's dictating the game. He's playing some lovely true balls. And he's putting his all in. He's putting his all in. You don't see him flailing his arm around, blaming anyone. He's getting back. You know what I mean? For me, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. He's been a handful, and I think he's been one of the standout players. I think he's crucial to this Wales team. I don't know if you've noticed, but you ever see the pictures they take before the game, and they do these weird formation things?
No.
So, right, go and look at it. One of them, there's like, I think it's like 8 at the back and 3 at the front instead of the usual people on their knees and a few at the back and that. And they're doing these weird formation things, and it's brilliant. And I think Gareth Bale may be responsible and do the call for the formation for the photo before the game, because he's sitting there with a weirdly proud smile on his face. And I think it's a dig at the press. I think against Italy, when they refer to Wales as Stoke, that photo there is the one where he put, like, I think it was 10 at the back of the picture and just one person in front. It's absolutely brilliant. So he's having digs at it. It's brilliant. You need to look at it. He's brilliant.
I haven't seen that, but yeah, look, fair play to Gareth Bell. And I mean, I would love him to come back to Spurs next year, but it is looking a bit unlikely at the moment. Let's move on to Joe Rodon. We've had some comments from Ledley King, how impressed he's been with Joe Rodon. He's doing all he can to kind of knuckle down that first team spot at Tottenham for next season. But he's been a man mountain in this Euros. He's been so impressive, especially in that Italy game. I mean, to be honest, all 3 games he's been absolutely immense, and he's got that leadership quality about him. He's got that dogged. He works so hard, and I mean, he seems to like raise everyone's game around him as well, like that Chris Mepham next to him, even Ben Davies on the other side of him. I mean, he is performing at a really high level, and I'm excited for him to come back to Tottenham next season. Yeah,
so am I. Look, I actually think he could be our mainstay beside Toby next season. I really do. For me, I think he's been brilliant. Even towards the end of last season at Spurs, you've seen when he was playing there, he was raising his game. He was out the left-hand side, the right-hand side. He was clearing everything. He's a man mountain. He loves defending. One thing that stand out for me from last season for him was against Marine. When the player got by Toby, the ground he made up to get back and get that block in to keep the clean sheet was unbelievable. And the guy purely loves defending. It's a rarity nowadays that you see someone that loves putting their body on the line, loves making that last-ditch tackle, loves blocking a shot that's coming at them 20, 30 miles per hour. Loves it. Loves throwing his head in the way. He's a man mountain. But not only that, he's been very good on the ball. 75% passing accuracy as well. So, that bodes well for Tottenham. And he's only made 1 foul out of the games he's played. 1. Which just goes to show he's constantly in the right position. And that's something that is rare. You can't teach that. That's something that, you either have it or you don't, that you can read the game. And that clearly shows that he's reading the game. And look, maybe we just got a bargain in this guy.
Yeah, I am actually really looking forward to it. I think he's had a really impressive Euros. And, he played well against Switzerland and Turkey, but the performance against Italy, against a big team like that, a team that have really been on form in this Euros, I mean, didn't faze him at all. It seems as though nothing phases this guy. And that's what we love to see for Joe Rodon. I'm really, really excited to have him.
That's what we need. That's what we need. We've seen too many times, especially at Tottenham, where occasions have got to the players and they've buckled. We need players like him where the big occasions, he just goes out there and not only does he perform, but he ups his game, he ups his level. That's what we need. Someone that gets, someone that gets an erection for the big occasions. Let's be honest. Someone, that really gets 100%. Up for it. That's what you want, and that's what we need at Tottenham. And for me, look, he's 23. He is 23 years of age. He is becoming a man. And, although he doesn't have great Premier League experience, because a lot of his only experience was the Championship. And to be honest with you, to have that meteoric rise to kind of, get yourself in and around the positions at Tottenham and come out and perform the way you have in the Euros, I do think we have a real gem on our hands. And, you know, we've seen players like that come through over the years. Vardy, Maguire, Robertson, who have all come from, you know, a lower league and become world class. And hopefully we've identified one in a row. He's been brilliant. That performance against Italy was immense. And like I said, it's great to see someone getting an extra for the big occasions.
Yeah, 100%. And last but not least, Ben Davies. He's also part of that Welsh back line that have played really well this tournament. And I've been impressed with Ben Davies. And I think that with Ben Davies, I mean, he's never going to have over a 7 out of 10. He's never going to be below a 5 out of 10. It's just that standard Ben Davies. But I think that he's actually topped that. He's playing better than what he does at Tottenham Hotspur. And I've been impressed with Ben Davies so far this tournament.
Yeah, look, he certainly raised his game, to be fair. He has raised his game. He does play better for Wales than what he does for Tottenham.
Yeah.
You know, he does. We can't excuse that. But look, I have been impressed with him. He's put his body on the line. I think he's like 5-6 blocks already. Yeah. You know, this Euros. The only thing that's let him down is his passing. Now that could be because a lot of it is going longer to try and release the likes of James from United. You know, and sometimes they're not. That look, we know he's not a great passer of the ball. We know he's not very good on the ball. But look, he is doing his defensive duty. One thing I have seen is sometimes he still does tuck in a bit too much. You know what I mean? But look, overall, he's had a good campaign. And credit where credit is due. He has turned it around. And look, maybe he could come back to Tottenham and provide competition for places. Who knows what the plans are for him? But look, you know, as much as he was poor for Tottenham last season, I do wish him to have a good competition. I wish every Spurs player, you know, that goes to these competitions to have good competitions. And the 3 Wales lads are certainly living up to that.
And finally, in the next round, Wales played Denmark, which is a really mouth-watering tie for me. And it's so hard to pick a winner. Who are you going for?
Do you know what? I don't know. I do not know. See, Belgium, Denmark, they have that thing about them, you know, the Christian Eriksen. What happened to that? That literally could galvanise and carry them a long way into this tournament. Then on the other hand, you have Wales, who just have that club mentality. They love representing their country, and they're in good spirits as well, good form. Both teams can score goals, but both teams can defend. This is going to be a tight one. I'll be very surprised if one team runs away with it. I can't call a winner. Look, I'm going to go Denmark to nick it one there.
Yeah, I mean, I did a video just before mapping England's route to the final, and I predicted who's going to win all the last 16 games, and I did put Denmark. I put Denmark in just by the skin of their teeth. I think it is going to be a very close game, but I do think they both have that togetherness. But I do think the Christian Eriksen thing is adding a whole new layer onto Denmark's performances at the moment, and I think that's what's going to see them through. I really believe that. But look, David, that is our review of the Spurs players at the Euros. Thank you very much for joining me yet again. And big up yourself for all the watch-alongs you have done and that you are going to do so far. They really have been good to watch. So thank you very much.
Nah, look, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity. Appreciate you for asking me to do this and do the watch-alongs. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope everyone else is too. And up the WeAreTottenhamTV army.
Come on. All right, so there you have it. That is our review of the 8 players at the Euros. Thank you, David, for joining me. Thank you, everyone out there, for watching along with us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.